Hello, I'm Datevik Sarkisyan from Yerevan State University, and today I would like to introduce you with some key steps in project development, especially focusing on project outputs and project outcomes. So, first of all, we need to clarify the distinction between project outputs and project outcomes. And meanwhile, some project development tools operate with the concepts of project objectives, project outputs, and project outcomes. The LFA, it means logical framework approach based use of this concept, and also its omission of the concept of objectives may add to the confusion. However, the use of the concepts of project objectives and outcomes in this training session appear to be identical concepts within the LFA matrix. So, in order to be able to define adequate project outputs, we should define first of all project objectives. And project objectives are what we are going to achieve at the end of the project. On the other hand, project outputs are what we are going to deliver at the end of the project. So we can surely state that project outputs are what the project guarantees to deliver at the end of the project as an outcome of its activities. Project outputs are a new or changed situation realized or materialized through the project activities. And as we can describe project outputs in project proposal, project outputs are legally binding. We are responsible as project developers for delivering exactly the same project outputs as we have described in the project proposal. So we can distinguish 5 key questions that might be helpful to have right list of project outputs. So the list includes several questions. The first one, when will the outputs be delivered? Where will the outputs be delivered? Who is going to deliver? Who is going to benefit? How much has been delivered? It means we should try to describe our project outputs in quantitative terms. For example, if one of the outputs is a handbook for trainers, we can describe it in terms of the page numbers, table of content, or language versions, and such a breakdown or detailed information is very helpful and needed information for the further evaluation process in the project management. Also, we should quantify our project outputs whenever possible using past tense in formulating project outputs. For example, implemented workshops, organized trainings, or written papers, or something like that. And the output list might include, for example, 20 organized trainings with 20 participants, each of one with one written paper reaching an audience of 100 persons. Or outputs might be called also deliverables, but no matter what term we are using, deliverables or outputs, we are talking about the same thing, and outputs outline exactly what the sponsor is going to get at the end of the project, and outputs may include tangible end products that we can touch, we can listen, we can see, or we can read. For example, a final report on the project and its main findings, 2-page summary document for the circulation to the stakeholders or the media, or 15 minutes PowerPoint presentation and or video. The fifth question is that we should try to describe our project outputs in qualitative as well as in quantitative terms. In qualitative terms, it means that we should to give qualitative descriptions to our outputs, mentioning the substance of a new or changed situation. And this provides project evaluators and project sponsors a common quality checking base to have a good sense about project overall quality and products, and also such a description prevents unpleasant surprises in the process of project management, some misconceptions, or any ambitious or misleading expectations of project outputs. So we can surely state that project outputs should be measured, should be measurable, but project outcomes, on the other hand, can be only judged, evaluated, but not measured. And also we can add that project outputs are always legally binding. If we have mentioned in the project proposal that we are guaranteeing to deliver some project outputs, we are responsible for them legally. It's very important to establish a very clear coherence between our project objectives, outputs, before we move on to identifying project activities that will lead to the project outputs, and then to the inputs that will enable to make the activities materialize. And the activities, we can say that is the easiest element in the LFA matrix. It's very easy to define, and it is the LFA element that doesn't create much dispute among different project development tools and models. And activities or task list or work packages, the same thing, has many concepts to describe it, but we all talk about the same thing. Task list includes several actions carried out to produce the outputs we desire from the beginning of the project. And in describing or formulating project activities, we are typically encouraged to use gerund form. The gerund is a noun formed from a verb that refers to an action and ends in ing. For example, printing, publishing, distributing, writing, etc. For a research project, I can give you some examples of project activities. For literature reviewing, developing questionnaire, administering survey, analyzing data, or writing a report. And when we are sure that we have a logical and LFA matrix that look like well to us, we can analyze it, we can review it, we can check the consistency of LFA elements or the language we have used, and we can review it until we can reach a point that the LFA matrix suits our needs the best. And after that, a new set of questions need to be addressed. For example, how much time should be estimated for completion of each task? In case of teamwork, to whom each task should be assigned for? Or how and what skills we will need for completion of each task. And in this section, we should give a clear link between project activities and the skills needed for completion of these tasks. So I would like also to introduce you with project outcomes projection or formulation. And project outcomes is what many people also call project goal. I would like to give you a clear example. When we have a project and the overall goal of our project is the reduction of violence towards women in a community, we can list short-term, medium-term, or long-term outcomes for this project. And these three types of project outcomes refer to different time frames. Short-term outcomes refer to changes that might occur from 1 to 3 years. Medium-term outcomes refer to changes that can occur from 4 to 6 years. And finally, long-term outcomes refer to the changes that might occur from 7 to 10 years. It might be easy for project developers first writing project objectives and after that project outcomes, because in some instances project objectives and long-term outcomes of the project might be identical. And after that we can include some medium-term outcomes for the project, and after that some short-term outcomes. In a given example, we can state that if the short-term outcomes of the project generally refer to the changes in people's motivation, people's awareness for something, or people's sensitivities toward the problem, our short-term outcome for the project mentioned above could be that we will raise awareness of the people in the community and change their perceptions, their beliefs about different forms of violence against women through informational activities. We can provide information, handbooks, videos about different types of violence against women, for example, physical violence, financial violence, sexual violence, etc. On the second stage, when we are responsible for providing medium-term outcomes for the project, we can write down that the short medium-term outcome for the project is to make changes in people's actions and people's attitudes. For example, we can change people's behavior in the community when they witness acts of violence against women, or we can witness some the decrease of phone calls to emergency services in that community. And finally, I would like also to talk about long-term outcomes of the project, which also is called the impact of the project. The impact of the project is organizational, community, or system level changes that we desire to achieve at the end of the project. And for the aim to describe project long-term outcomes, or in other words project impact, we can use the term contribution to, because we can state that any single project or program will be able to solve the whole problem situation. This taking for granted, we can state that for the example given above, our long-term outcomes for this project might be contribution to the legal improvement for the reduction of violence against women, contribution to the skills development for organizational change, or contribution to any changes in the policy area. And in the end, I would like to provide you with a checklist that will enable us to check have we prepared an adequate and comprehensive project proposal with all elements, or have we missed something? And this checklist is the first question: has we clearly defined the central topic, issue, or problem area? Has we given evidence that relevant background reading and preliminary information gathering has occurred? Have we listed the project objectives? Have we stated what final products will be delivered? Have we developed a project task list that systematically defines and logically sequences the major research tasks ahead? For example, reading, information gathering, analysis, and writing. Have we produced the preliminary time budget and timeline? Because it's also very important to have a clear sense of all the budgetary and time limits that the project might face. Thinking in this way will help us to prevent some risks and manage those risks appropriately. The second question, have we introduced the project team and specified task responsibilities? Have we estimated project-related costs? And eventually, have we noted any project risks and the ways by which they could be managed? So I would like to wish you success in your undertakings and especially in project writing and project management. Thank you for your time.